Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It's a live edition, a Wednesday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. Locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Go check out the good folks at International Diamond Center. Today's show, we'll have JC. We'll do our Peachland Dental golf picks. We'll also have Chris Harry before they head out to Tampa tomorrow. Get his thoughts on the Mighty Gators. And we find out their opponent tonight. JC, you're on the Titan Number Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. And I want to give a shout out to Venezuela. Congratulations to them.
Yep.
It sucked losing, but I think it's the first time they've won. So,
well, and they're a friendly country now. They're big fans of the United States for liberating them. And I tell you what, they got great players in Latin America, as we all know, right? I mean, that's the national sport. Dominican Republic, Mexico, Venezuela, and all those countries. And Cuba has had great players, going through the hardships of being a Cuban in that country and then trying to get to the United States. I'll never forget El Duque, the old pitcher for the Yankees, talking about the story of being on a wooden raft, getting to America, and now eventually ended up pitching for the Yankees against the Cleveland Indians in the pennant. And they asked him, they said, "Are you nervous about pitching tonight?" He goes, "Nervous? Nervous is being on a wooden raft with sharks around you getting to Florida. That's called being nervous. This is baseball." So anyway, the perspective of the Latin American players has always been something I've admired. And I think Venezuela, a country that's been through literal hell, and having this joy of being a baseball powerhouse on the planet is, because they love baseball in Japan too, QB. So
yeah, Venezuela upset Japan. That's how they got there. And then they beat Italy. So I'll have to disagree with Art here on Facebook. I mean, on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. He says, American pitching just isn't what it should be. Pitching was not the problem.
I didn't watch, QB. What happened?
We lost 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Well, JC, you didn't see it. So we were down 2-0 in the bottom of the eighth. With like 2 hits the entire night. Harper hit a moonshot to tie it up 2-2. And we lost in they scored in the top of the ninth.
Okay.
I thought pitching was outstanding from both. We just could not hit. And we have a dynamic lineup that couldn't get a damn hit.
There you go. Well, pitching always seems to beat good hitting, QB. It's been the way of the world since I can remember starting to watch baseball in the 70s. It just seems to be the way you win in the big games. So, what's Florida good at? I think Florida's good at pitching. And I think that's why Kevin O'Sullivan has won the College World Series. When he's won it, he's done it because of the pitching.
Yeah.
And I think that's what most teams that win do it with. It's the pitching. And you're right, man. 3-2 is a well-played, hard-fought pitcher's duel where the hitters are confused. After, as UF Gators UF says, Aaron Judge standing there looking at strike 3 after Harper's huge home run was brutal. Well, you know what? Aaron Judge is a great hitter, but sometimes the pitcher gets the better of you. And so I'm sure he didn't want to stand there watching strike 3, but Tony's right. I mean, that's a tough thing to take right there. It's strike 3. You got to at least go down swinging, right? But I'm not here to tell Aaron Judge how to hit. That's for damn sure. I'm not here for that. But I am here to talk about some of these great games that we saw. The brackets are out now. We know where Howard is going to play. They're going to play Michigan. They're about a 30-point underdog in that game, but they looked pretty good last night against Baltimore County. And then you had the Texas Longhorns at NC State play a thriller last night, and Texas gets the big win. And I think tonight you'll see the same thing. I think Prairie View, a school out of the Houston area, and Lehigh tonight to see who's going to play the Fighting Gators. And then you got the Miami, everybody's interested in what Miami does. They seem to be the talk of college basketball with their 30-1 record. But SMU's a 6.5-point favorite there. So where will they end up playing? Who will end up playing in their next game? It's going to be good stuff. This weekend is the best weekend in basketball because it's Thursday, Friday, just nonstop basketball, and then we go to the round of 32. So
Yeah, so we have baseball this weekend. I can't remember where we played, but softball, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series. Hosts the number one team in America, the Lady Vols, roll into town.
okay,
That
well,
should be good.
you're coming off a sweep from Kentucky, right? So
Yes.
you got a little momentum. They're going to have to see Florida's best, and Florida's going to see their best. And this is the best that we have in the sport right here in Gainesville this weekend. So that's good stuff. Basketball, like I said, you've got the tournament down in Tampa, which has, I think, created more interest these days because of how great the PGA Tour is. We have a local kid playing. Chandler Blanchet is going to be in Tampa playing at that Valspar. We all know this course, QB. You and I both played the Copperhead course. It's not easy for guys like us, but they'll do well out there. I think this is a course that's there for the taking. So I think it's going to be a good weekend of sports for all of us.
Yeah, I think the Island course is harder than the Copperhead.
That's what that's what I experienced. I agree. It's kind of like Sawgrass. The one across the street's tougher than the TPC, but they did a good job keeping the TPC difficult this
I
weekend.
thought it was outstanding.
Yeah, they did.
Franklin's question on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says Charles Barkley doesn't think strength of schedule should be a factor. What do y'all say?
Oh, well, I think he's wrong. I think it should matter who you play. I do.
Yeah, to a degree.
But
Yeah,
you do.
he was referring, I think it has a lot to do with, because I saw a little bit of him and Dick Vitale discussing this on the telecast last night.
Yeah.
I think it was regarding Miami, Ohio.
Oh, okay. In that case, fine. But 30 wins is 30 wins. And you know what? They did deserve to go. They got in. They were not the last team in either. But they're 31-1, man. I mean, I don't know. You still got to get up in the morning and lace them up and go play. And yeah, they didn't have a very hard schedule, but they're Miami of Ohio. It's not like they're Duke. Okay, so I think they got what they deserved, and they're going to play tonight to try to play another game on Friday.
Yeah, we also got SEC. Thanks, Dan, for reminding me. SEC gymnastics, SEC championship is Saturday. We just got a text here from Leroy. From Palm Coast. He says the Island course is tougher than the Copperhead. I've played them both. I agree with that, Leroy.
Yeah, Leroy is correct. But they do play the Copperhead course, Snake Pit, whatever it's called. So QB, did you fill out a bracket?
I did. I filled out a bracket I sent you the link, JC, so you could see if you were as good as all our loyal listeners.
I did it.
Okay. So Matt here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon, wants to know what our final four teams are. I will tell you mine. I think it's mine. I can't get back into my thing now.
Yes. Gosh, we have the same problem.
I'm so bad with technology. So
not as bad as me.
If I tell you these four teams and
that's wrong,
have two teams from the same region, please let me know. I have the Mighty Gators.
Okay.
I have the Arizona Wildcats.
I
have the Iowa State Cyclones. Are they? Yeah. Am I still okay here?
You're still okay.
Okay. And then I had the St. John's Redmen.
The Redmen.
Yes, the Redmen to me.
Well, I mean, how many damn Hawks do you need? You got Mountain Hawks?
No, they're the Red Storm, JC.
Oh, Red Storm? Okay. Well, what's a Red Hawk?
Actually, the Mountain Hawks play today. You know who they are?
Yeah, that's Lehigh.
Lehigh.
But you got the Seattle Seahawks, the Mountain Hawks, you got Miami Red Hawks. You got the Red Storm, whatever the hell a Red Storm is. Okay, so mine is
those are all different regions, correct?
Well, and they are. And okay, St. John's, you've got in the East. That's correct. You've got Iowa State in the Midwest. Like you, I also took Iowa State because I think you're right about their offense. Much better now. Arizona, I'm with you on that one out of the West. And, you know, I'm rooting for the Florida Fighting Gators, but I've got Houston. And I don't think Houston's as good as they were last year for whatever reason. I just think that
they're better offensively than Houston's ever been.
But defensively, I don't think they're as good. But I will tell you, when the committee puts you in Oklahoma City and the committee then sends you home literally to play in the Elite Eight and the Sweet 16, I think you have an edge. but that doesn't mean you're going to win. You still have to play well and so forth. So I would like to see Florida, of course. Of course I would. I want the area and all the Gator fans, everybody to be excited like last year. But I'll just be a little different and go with Houston. But that's not who I'm rooting for, but that's just what I picked. So it doesn't mean I'm going to be right. You should be glad that I picked Houston because I'll probably be wrong. So there you go, folks. So start thanking me for taking Houston instead of the Florida Fighting Gators. I'll tell you some upsets that I do like, QB, and I'm with you on Santa Clara for damn sure. And I love the points too, but I'd pick them on the money line. But I like VCU against North Carolina, and that's tomorrow at 6:50. The Carolina's a 2.5 point favorite, but I'm all about VCU. I also think that Vegas has factored in these big spreads with these big seeds against these longer seeds. And I've got some teams catching a lot of points as well. I've taken Penn with the 24.5 against Illinois. I like these big spreads. I like Siena getting 28.5 against Duke. I don't think Duke's going to play all these guys when they're up by 20 in the second half. I don't. I think they're going to sit some of these guys. They are thinner than they were before these injuries happened. So I think that factors into the way John Shire is going to coach these games. And I don't mind if you want to go ahead and take 30 points with either Howard against Michigan or LIU against Arizona. I mean, that game in San Diego between LIU and Arizona is at 10:30 in the morning, QB, local time. So that's early. I don't know. I just think 30.5 points is a lot.
10:30 in the morning where?
San Diego. Because it's a 1:35 Eastern start. That's 10:30 in San Diego.
That has to be a typo. They never start those West Coast games that early.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I just looked at the times on here, and that's what it says.
You sure it's not 1:30 their time?
No, I mean, this is on Friday. It says 1:35 EDT, Eastern Daylight Time, or Eastern Standard Time. I mean, I agree with you. I thought that was a typo. I can't imagine what the hell the point of that is.
Yeah.
And then, the Villanova-Utah State game is on right after that. The Fighting Gators play at 9:25 Eastern on Friday night in Tampa.
Probably
right?
I bet tip is closer to 10 o'clock.
Yeah, these are late, man.
They're always late.
So some are really super early on the local clock, but they're doing these times for television. I mean, so I'm going to look again to see if I misprinted that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. Yeah, Arizona, Long Island, Friday, 1:35 Eastern Daylight Time. The game's in San Diego, for God's sakes. It's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous.
I still don't think they had to make a mistake there. All right, on the Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law, Daniel says he's missed the last 2 days. Did you talk about people complaining that Cam Young lets his caddy read putts? No, because
why is that?
A lot of, I would say majority of the players let their caddies help read their putts.
They let their caddies do everything, QB.
Yeah, that's what they're there for.
That's a big deal. I mean, caddies are part of the club selection. They're part of the distance. QB, it is. I'm right, dude. 1:35. It says.
All right, I'm not questioning you. I just think
I think it's stupid. That is dumb. But it's all about the television and the amount of games they're going to have. So, but yes, no, caddies. When you heard Matthew Fitzpatrick at the TPC talking to his guy about where to put the ball, where to play it. Same thing with Daniel Berger on those extra holes at Bay Hill. He's talking with his caddy as he's in the rough on 18. Are we going to go for the green? Is that too risky? We're going to lay it up in front. Are we going to hit that bunker on the left side? Are we going to try to get up and down from in front of the green? And those guys have a lot of sway in how these guys eventually hit their shots, but they eventually have to make the final decision, of course, because they're the player. But the caddies are a big part of this whole team. That's a team, right? That's what tennis players say. I have a team. So
so Dan, who I'm going to trust Dan over your whatever you printed. He says he sees the Arizona time on ESPN as 12:35 Central Standard Time.
That's 1:35 Eastern Time.
No.
Central Standard Time is an hour behind us, QB. And it's 2 hours. It's 2 hours in front of the West Coast. So It's 10:30 in the damn morning. I mean, this is like a mystery
Sure
to me.
it's not 2:35?
No, 1:35 Eastern is 12:30 Central.
Correct.
Yeah. And then 12:30 Central is
That still
11:30
makes no sense to me. I think they
11:30
screwed that
Mountain.
up.
And then you have 11:30 Mountain Time. And
Because
then you
usually the
have,
East Coast games are the first ones.
I know, that's
But
why
anyway,
I was stunned by that.
Miapa is proud to sponsor Gator Athletics at all Gator baseball home games. When the Gators win, you win a free cup of Cuban coffee from any Miapa location. Just show your ticket. Go Gators, go Miapa. All right, JC, let's get to our Peachland Dental, Gator
Want to
Nation's
do that?
choice
Sure.
for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go check them out at peachlanddental.com. We are at the Valspar down at Innisbrook.
Yep.
Um,
A Salamander Golf and Spa Resort.
Yeah, so I won. So I'm getting first pick. And I
Okay.
am gonna pick. I don't I'm going out on a limb this week, JC. And remember,
Yeah.
in golf, it's best to, as you tell people,
Yes.
pick guys to win top 5, top 10, top 20, and you will
Yep.
make money.
That's correct.
Which I would have won a lot of money
You
last
would have killed it last week. You would have been able to pay.
If I'd bet $50
Yeah.
on those 3 golfers that went first, fifth, and eighth, I
Oh,
bet I would have won for $4,000.
you would have won a dump load of money, brother. A truckload.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm my first pick. Are you writing this down?
I am.
Jacob Bridgman.
A great pick. He's had just a tremendous start to the year, and he'll be at the Masters. I'm going to go with a pick that I never thought I would even try taking, but I think this guy plays the Salamander Spa and Resort course at Copperhead very well, and it's Ryo Hitsatsune
I like him. The
from
Japanese.
Japan. He's world ranked number 61. You can probably get 50 to 1 on this guy. But on top 5, top 10, top 20, you'll get very good numbers. I think he plays this course really well. I was reading that he likes this course. Let's go with him.
I'm going to take JJ Spawn.
Yeah. Okay. That's your U.S. Open defending champion, and he played fantastic at the Ryder Cup. He and Cam Young were the 2 best players on that miserable Ryder Cup team. Let's go with Thigala. Love his game right now. He's in great form. Just did tremendously. I think Thigala, 125 tee time tomorrow. Go with him.
You got Sahith?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I like his game. He's a really good putter.
Really solid. Very solid.
Give me Ben Griffin.
Okay. I was looking at him too. He'll get it cranking here. He's got his exemptions in place. He's in solid form. Okay. Well, I tell you, the field does miss some of the more well-known players, but there's plenty of great players here. I'm going to take, I don't know. I mean, I don't know when this guy's going to win again. He's got 3 majors, and he's just gone, in the refrigerator for the last 3 years. But Jordan Spieth, to me, is going to play well this weekend. I think he's going to play this course pretty tight. Give me Jordan.
Okay. Reggie does bring up a great point here. I don't think he's playing though. I would think he would be playing in this. Let me look real quick
Okay.
before I tell you who he's. Yeah, I don't see his name on the notables. Is Sam Burns playing?
Don't see him.
I know he always plays well here.
Yeah.
So
Don't know what.
Yeah. All right.
Don't see
I'm
him.
going to go with another long shot.
Bud Cauley.
I think Bud Cauley's good. I mean, I sound like my son when he was like 10. We'd be watching an NFL game. He's like, "Dad, is he any good?" I'm like, the guy's playing in the National Football League. Yes, he's good. I was getting ready to say, yeah, I think Bud Cauley's pretty good. Well, he's on the PGA Tour.
Alabama guy.
Give me Austin Smotherman.
Okay.
He's been playing real well.
Yes, he has. Smotherman. Okay. And I'm just going to take my man Thomas. I think he found something at TPC. Hit the ball much straighter. didn't get too loose off the fairway. This is the course where you do have to be accurate off the tee. It is kind of tight, so I'm going to take Justin. Isn't Innisbrook kind of a tight course, QB? I mean, there's trees pretty much.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, well, again, it depends on if they grow a little rough, make the fairways
yeah.
tight. I mean, there's some very challenging holes out there.
I mean, it's not Craig's Ranch, basically, is what I'm saying, where
Oh
you
no,
just
you
can hit
can't
it.
you
Yeah.
can't land 747s
Right. Okay.
on the
Yeah.
on
Yeah. That's
the
what I was thinking.
fairways.
So I'm going to take Justin. I liked how he played coming off the awful performance at Bay Hill. And he really got it together this week. I think he's going to play well this week. So give me Thomas, Spieth, Thigala, and Hitsatsune. And you have Bridgman, JJ, Spawn, Ben Griffin, and Smotherman. Yep.
All right, that does it for the Peachland Dental picks. And
Yep.
I went out on a limb this week with some.
Well, the
If you
field
bet
is.
on them, if you actually bet on these guys and
Oh,
they place, you'll win a lot of money because
you're
they're
going to
getting
yeah.
great odds.
You will get great odds before the tournament starts. That is absolutely a fact. Brooks Koepka is playing better too. I think he found something with his putter. He's putting a little bit better. I just think he's tuning up. This is how they do it in gymnastics. This is how they do it in all these sports where you kind of tune yourself up for the pinnacle at the end of the year. Brooks is tuning his game up for the Masters, and he should have won the Masters at least once, the way I look at it, when I remember him playing. So the way he's kind of tuning it all up, getting himself really ready for the events that interest him the most, obviously the majors. So this is just enough. I mean, he would love to win this tournament, but if he plays well and finishes top 10, top 20, I think he'd be happy. So watch what Brooks can do this weekend.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, where proud member Stephen Orr Spurrier banks. In 1990, the TPC Sawgrass. You know who won it in 1990, JC?
Jerry Pate.
That's a good guess.
Yeah.
Jody Mudd
from
won
Georgia.
by one stroke over Gator Mark Calcavecchia. How much do you think he won? People may not realize this that don't watch golf, but the Players Championship is the highest paying
biggest purse.
Yep. In all of golf. What do you think Jody Mudd made by winning in 1990?
$450,000.
270 grand.
God, I almost said 250,000.
And for people that don't know this, Cam Young just won 4.5 million.
I mean, listen, golf is popular, bro. I mean, when you think look at that gallery, you're watching it, and you're thinking to yourself, my God, you can barely see what's going on out there, and they're still there.
Well, the TPC,
it's good for viewing.
It's called the stadium course because they built where you can sit on hills and watch. It's like a stadium, but
correct.
It's more of a party drinking fest than it is people watching golf.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that waste management. So QB, you see, I gave you a couple before you hit me out and bringing the great Chris Harry. You see anything, upset wise in the tournament tomorrow? Because I won't be on with you tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday. So
my upset, I don't see as many upsets as we've seen in the past. And my reasoning behind that is NIL. And I don't know, it could be a dumb reason. I don't know. I think VCU can beat North Carolina.
I do. Absolutely.
I firmly believe Santa Clara is going to beat Kentucky.
I'm on that one.
Kentucky is a bad basketball team.
I'm on that one too. Yeah.
Santa Clara can score, and they're very big. Outside of that, I think there will be some close games, but I don't see a lot of major upsets. Speaking of that, we had somebody on, I don't know if it was Facebook or YouTube, wanted your comments, JC, on Holloway from Alabama, his issues.
I think it's a shame. He's ruined the biggest part of the season for him and his team. If you've got a pound of marijuana sitting in there with all kinds of toys, and the department of whatever it is goes in there and raids your place, that means you're out there selling the crap. And that's exactly what I think happened. And I think he's careless, and he's forgot that he was a student at Alabama and he had a responsibility to himself and his teammates. So he's no longer on campus, and he shouldn't be. And, marijuana is not the end of the world. It's not like he's pushing methamphetamine or fentanyl, but it's still not legal. And these kids just have a problem with trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong in so many cases. And, Alabama's got this history. I don't know what the hell's going on up there in Tuscaloosa. It's not the same quaint little town it was when I went to school there, because don't you remember the player Miller?
Yeah, it was like shot somebody and
With
killed
the
him.
gun thing going
Yeah.
off and
I
somebody
don't think he
died.
shot him, but he was
But he was,
involved.
just being involved in those situations when you're about to play in the NCAA tournament and you're a college basketball player, it just shows an absolute lack of of responsibility. And so you have to be held accountable in these cases, and he is, and that's going to hurt Alabama. They're the number one scoring team in the country on average points per game. Without him, I don't think they get past the round of 32. I got them winning in this first game against Hofstra, and I got them probably losing to either Akron or Texas Tech. But I really like this Wisconsin Badger team for some reason. I know they're 24-10, but they score points, and High Point 30-4 is going to be a tough little game for them. But Wisconsin and Arkansas sets up to be a great second round or round of 32 game in Portland, Oregon. And Wisconsin's a team that if they can fill it up and they hit their shots, they will give people problems. So I'm looking at Wisconsin as a team to watch out for. I definitely think that Virginia also is a sneaky 3 seed there in the Midwest. They've got Wright State on Friday at 1:50 in the afternoon. And Iowa State, as you mentioned, now they're a 2 seed, so they're expected to do well. But Iowa State with that shooter Milanovic or whatever his name is, they can, if they score points, watch out for Iowa State. Yeah.
Yeah. Where did it go? Oh, MSRK on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says South Florida over Louisville could be an upset. I know
Oh, great,
a lot
great
of people
call
are
there.
picking that one. I don't
Great
see
call
it,
there.
but it
You
could
don't think, well, South Florida. So if you were curious about, what are they good at?
well, they run and gun because
They
in
run
their
and gun, but
assistant came from the Nate Oates tree.
right. And they've won 11 straight, and they have a top 40 defense. I think they'll give Louisville trouble, and I love the 5.5 points if I were picking that game against the spread. I love that. I think Akron can play well and give Texas Tech some headaches. That's a 12:40 game on Friday afternoon. Akron is catching 7.5. And I think we talked about Santa Clara. We talked about Iowa State. Arizona, by the way, if you were wondering about how good they really are, 16-2 in quad one games. They are as good a team in the field as there is, and I think they should actually be the number one
That's
overall
what
seed.
I've been saying. I don't know
Yeah.
what the hell these people are watching.
I don't know what
They're
you're
all
watching
they
either.
just love Duke for some reason.
They love Duke. They love Duke, and I loved Duke more when that guard was there. But Duke has, in my mind, as the 1 seed, a tougher road through the East because you've got UConn, you've got Michigan State, and you never know if the schizophrenic Kansas Jayhawks will show up or not. But then St. John's, the Storm, the Redmen, whatever, they are. And yet they kind of got the shaft with a trip out to San Diego. They're going to play at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m., 4 p.m. local time on Friday against Northern Iowa. They're a 10.5 point favorite. St. John's and Kansas are setting up. That's Bill Self and Rick Pitino in the second round of 32 in San Diego. Watch out. That's going to be a really exciting matchup, I think. But I like what he said about USF. I also like UCLA to cover against UCF. I think you have just a mismatch of coaching there. I think Mitch Cronin is very good. This is the time of year I think he does his best. So watch UCLA. Nobody talks about UCLA. They're playing at 7:30, 7:25 on Friday against Central Florida out in Philadelphia. So I think UCLA could, and they don't like all that traveling, but this is the tournament now. And I think Vandy and Nebraska, the fact that Florida could end up playing Vanderbilt again in the Sweet 16, I don't really like what the committee did there either. Honestly, I just don't. But Vandy's 11.5 point favorite over McNeese State. They're playing in Oklahoma City, and then they'll play the winner of Troy and Nebraska, probably winning that game as well to go to the South Regional Sweet 16 in Houston, Texas. So I like St. Mary's over A&M. I think they'll just slow the game down. I think I like Tennessee over the Miami, Ohio Southern Methodist winner. Certainly think Georgia's going to beat St. Louis. But I think Akron's going to give Texas Tech all they want in that matchup of a 5 and 12. There's usually a 12 that upsets a 5 in this deal. And I think since 2014, QB, that's 12 years, I want to say that there has been at least one double-digit seed make it to the Sweet 16. So who's that going to be? I don't know.
Have a good day, JC. We'll see you on Friday.
See you Friday.
JC, join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll be joined by Chris Harris from FloridaGators.com. They'll be heading down to Tampa tomorrow.
Yep.
Bus. You're watching and listening to PodUp Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back. Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Landeros Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics, Michael Snyder PLLC, Florida Legends Gala and Experience, South State Bank. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, International Gold and Diamond Exchange, Advocare, MGNA Wealth, Comfort Temp. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook or YouTube. Listen to podcasts wherever on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, be sure to call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 national championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave Los Landeros Tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros Tequila, smooth enough to drink neat, bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros Tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. 3 Heismans, 2 events, 1 legendary day. Join Steve Spurrier, Danny Werfel, Tim Tebow Monday, March 30th at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill for the Florida Legends Gala and Experience. Visit fllegends.com for tickets and sponsorship information. Back to the Titan number hotline. It's our man Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com, who is packing his bags, ready to go get on the bus tomorrow. I believe I saw where, I don't know if I read this or something, big send-off tomorrow, huh, Chris?
I guess I'm actually going down today. I'm going to get in place, and the team is coming down tonight. Actually,
maybe
they're going to watch.
Office today.
Yeah, they're going to watch the game, the playing game, at least the first half of it, together on campus, and then head down tonight. I think so.
Okay. Well, let's go back. I'm one who's like, who cares? Flush it. Don't watch the tape. Burn it. Whatever. Things
you
in-
got to talk. You do got to go over it. Yes, yes, that's the thing. But it's easier for us guys sitting here on our YouTube TV or Facebook TV to talk about. You do got to go over some of that stuff, man. Come on.
No, I get that, but it doesn't matter now. It's all in the past. Now it's you lose, season's over. Okay. So what have they? I mean, obviously, we don't like the outcome of what happened with Vanderbilt. People say, well, you get another extra day's rest, blah, 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 all that stuff. Just the mindset of the team. I don't think anything's changed. I think they're still going to play with a swagger Friday night.
I think there was an element of humility that came out of that, or reduced humility or whatever. That just losing that way, they hadn't lost a game like that in a while. The Auburn game was a close game. Going 8 minutes left in the game or whatever. This game was never really close. I just think that there was so much that looked like the things that Florida didn't do well earlier in the season. Like protect the ball and shoot it well from the 3-point line. I'd say for the first half of the season, they played like that, but they were able to overcome because they were rebounding it like madmen, and the defense was great. Vanderbilt exploited some defensive things and really played really, really well. Gators got to get back to protecting the ball, and the 3-point shooting is something you can't really control. It needs to be better because I want to say it's 8 for 37 in the 2 tournament games, about 21.5%, I think. 32 turnovers in the 2 tournament games. They really haven't looked like a different team since the second half of the regular season ending win over Kentucky. That's been the focus of practice the last couple of days, getting back to being clean with the ball. Yes, you do flush the things, but go back to what they do best. And when they take care of the ball, they get more shots, okay, because they rebound the ball. So they rebounded 57% of their misses in Vanderbilt game and lost by 17. That's incredible. That's just, that's because they were down 20 points and they gave 20 points off turnovers in the first half. And we're playing uphill the rest of the way. Not a recipe against a really good. And let's give Vandy credit, right, Shane? I mean, the playmaking, the shot making. They're a really good team. I mean, they have the same record as Florida does at 26-7. So excellent team. But they're going to face other teams like that. So time to move on.
I mean, Vanderbilt is one of the most skilled offensive teams in the country. They can flat out score. People forget. Would we beat them at their gym? What did it like 96,
98, 94. 98, 94, high level offensive game. Both teams well over 50%. Both teams well over 40% from the 3-point line. Florida made one more play than Vanderbilt did in a true road game. It just wasn't the case this time around. And yeah, to your point, the skill Tyler Tanner, really good player. Duke Miles, those guys had 15 assists between them in those 2 games. They didn't hit a bunch of threes, but they made and they made all their free throws. Got the free throw time a lot.
Franklin's question on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Chris is Tommy Houck.
Tommy Houck.
100% healthy.
Is he 100%
still
healthy?
an issue? Here's the thing.
No.
Is at this time of the year, nobody's 100%.
That's right. That's right. I mean, Tommy, it's not his thing. He played 35 minutes in the game the other day. So, yeah. I mean, he was 0 for 5 from the 3-point line, I think, in either the first or maybe the Kentucky game. He didn't shoot the ball well. Nobody shot the ball. It's weird. I think Boogie Flan has the longest 3-point game streak with a game with at least 1 3. I think he's around seven or 8 games in a row. And he was the one who went however many 12 games where he was 1 for 24 or something like that. But just gotta reset, and just historically speaking of this team, if you go back to last year, they lost an early season game to Missouri, right, at home. Reset really well, then lost a late game to Georgia. Reset and finished really strong. The best reset of their seasons this year came against the loss to Missouri to start the SEC season. And then, they won however many, 5 in a row after that. And then they won, of course, 12 in a row after the loss to Auburn. So they're pretty good at that. They need to be really good at it now again.
We got a lot of people chiming in about, need the referees to swallow their whistle about the Vanderbilt game. Look, you never know how the game's going to be called in these tournament games. You got to adjust. Any concerns there from a referee standpoint for you?
You can't let it be. I
Right.
mean, Ruben Chiniolo is a very hard player to officiate, right? He's incredibly physical. Alex Condon had an unfortunate whistle in the Vanderbilt game. Yeah. I mean, but you just have to play through that stuff. That's just they've had bad whistles in games that they've won by 15 points. So
Right.
right. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. I do kind of agree here with what Michael says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Need to get Urban going. I think he's the guy that kind of coming off the bench kind of sets the standard, knocking down a few threes, can take that game, that 2-point lead to 8 immediately.
Mm-hmm. Well, the way Florida plays, they don't run specific stuff. They don't run plays to get this guy this shot. Okay, so the way Urban Clabshar scores is when he's got open threes, and especially in transition when they get out fast. And I know how you love it when they play fast. But against Vanderbilt, it's really hard to get out in transition and find him in open spots on wings when you're taking the ball out of the basket all the time.
Yeah.
So that's it's not conducive. And I'll give Urban some credit because the baskets he did score, he's driving to the basket and he's shooting over taller guys. And so he's expanded his game on that play. I mean, he could do it when he got here. He's just gotten better at it. But 100% to your point, that he didn't make a three, I think, in the last game, or maybe it was in the Kentucky game. So that broke his string of how many games in a row he had made. He made at least one. He's a 40% 3-point shooter. It'd be nice to have that X factor going. But you have to get stops and get that fast break going, and he goes to his spots and they know how to find him. Like Billy Donovan used to say, layups, dunks, and Lee Humphrey. Okay, this team would be good for layups, dunks, and Urban Clabshar when they can find him.
No doubt. Kind of switching gears, still basketball wise here. Andy's question on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Shane, did you see the Indianapolis Colts sign Notre Dame's power forward Carson Tout and will convert him to a tight end with no football experience? They kind of did that. Did Antonio Gates have any football experience other than like maybe high school?
I'm not sure, but I mean, they saw him in the Elite Eight and they said, well, I do remember in 2012 or 13 going out to a spring football practice with Patrick Young and Will You Get. And Patrick Young had a tank top on, right? And the coaches came over and said, who the hell are you, man? And, they actually did get him out there and have him run around like the following off season a little bit or whatever. And it's a different game, right?
Yeah,
a 6'9", 255-pound guy, just because he's built like Adonis, it doesn't 100% convert all the time.
No, and again, I'm sure they got him cheap. He was cheap and available, as Coach Spurrier would say. And he's a project, they can just see, and then if not, they just release him. So
right.
Anyway, Chris, looking at the league, obviously they get 10 teams in. Texas has a buzzer beater last night to advance. Out of the league, let's take off your orange and blue glasses, because that's who you work for. But who do you think can make a deep run? I think it's Arkansas with Darius Acuff.
I really like him. I think he's one of the 5 best players in the country. I mean, and there's, don't get me wrong, when I say 5 best players in the country, we usually talk about all freshmen. And if you could name 6 or 7 and certainly be in that, and I couldn't really argue with you, but he's fantastic. I think they do have that kind of look to them. I don't trust Alabama really. I don't trust Tennessee. I think Vanderbilt's the 3rd best team in the league, actually. So they're difficult to prepare for because they have so many shot makers. And if their bigs are making threes, then they become a different team. They just happen to be that team against Florida. They hadn't been that team over the course of the season. But I think really, realistically, it's the Gators and the Hogs who would be the teams who would be the out of the league who have the best shot.
I mean, I think Tennessee they have some players that have some experience, but they have a lottery guy and Nate.
Hmm.
Amen.
Amen.
I don't know how healthy he is. We know he had a leg injury a couple weeks ago, but came back to play. But he's the kind of guy that can maybe take over a game and move the balls. You know,
I don't see him as a takeover. I don't see him as a
don't see it?
takeover game guy. I think he's a guy who just gets his stuff through the flow of the team. I mean, you're not getting you got to score. You got to score. A Cup is that guy.
No,
You know,
there's no question. That guy can
right,
score on anybody at any time.
right, and he's unafraid and fantastic player. But I kind of think, you know, It's funny. Look how far you've come from half the season. You were all in on Bucky Ball, right?
I love his style of play. I still do. I just don't think he has the players to do it.
But they ended up 21-11. I think at one time, weren't they like 16-1 or something like that?
Yeah, but I also said that we were going to destroy them because they could not cover us.
I don't remember you saying that actually. So
well, it's on tape right here. The tape don't lie, Chris. The tape don't lie. The eye and the sky don't lie.
Tape don't lie. That's right.
People are asking, what's your Final Four?
My Final Four. I did fill one out. I just think Michigan is the team going to be the toughest team to beat. I have Duke, I have Arizona, I have Michigan, and I think Florida's going to have a tough time with Houston in Houston, I think. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do have them getting to the Elite Eight. Now I had this conversation with my family. Oh, it's not fair, Houston. We don't have to play Houston.
I was getting ready to ask you that about Houston playing in Houston.
But we played Houston and San Antonio last year. It wasn't that much of a difference. I mean, I was in the building, and there were a lot of Houston fans in the building. So, also that team was different than this team. That team was far more consistent than this team. And you know, in this tournament, you need to lean on guards, man. And you know, if Xavier Lee and Boogie Flan can get back to playing that cohesive way that they were playing during the second half of that 11 game winning streak to end the regular season, Gators have a chance they can beat anybody when we combine it with the front court. So let's just see what happens.
Castaway Hot Sauce Company, from Mile to Wild, they have a flavor for every Gator fan, available at your local Publix, CastawaySauceCompany.com. A few more minutes with Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. Andy on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, with Thomas Houck's AP third team All-American selection. Will he earn additional NIL money for that?
Well, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. There's bonus clauses for.
That's the way it should be, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think Todd gets a bonus for coaching. I don't know that, but I assume he does. I know that's how, you know, if you make Pro Bowls and stuff, you get bonuses in the King, right? Like in the NFL, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Florida coaches.
You win the league, get a bonus, that kind of thing.
The coach of the year, you get something when you lead. Yeah,
right.
They get bonuses. So anyway, all right. Well, all right. So we'll find out our opponent tonight. I don't think it really matters. We play the winner. I wanted to ask you this because I watch a lot of college basketball. Iowa has a new coach. They're very methodical.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson's kind of the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got to, whoever we play, we got to find a way to speed that game up, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I was looking at Iowa, Clemson's going to try to play slow, and they lean into defense. Iowa, I think, is very even in offense and defense. And the coach at Iowa is the Drake coach from last year. And I remember watching Bennett Sturts at Drake, and he was a really good player, and he came with them, and he's their best player on Iowa's team. And his numbers are basically the same coming from Missouri Valley into the Big Ten. So he's a really good player. But I mean, you know, you're a 1 seed, you're playing a 16 seed. Obviously, you're expected to win that game easily, and you're expected to beat the 8-9 survivor. I'm sure there will be people, if anyone's looking at 1 seeds that might be the most vulnerable in the second round. You know, you're filling out your bracket. People might look at the Gators, especially the way they played their last game. But I just think that, you know, just watching them practice the last day or whatever, they're going to be ready to play in Tampa. And let's remember, they are in Tampa. That's going to be a big advantage for them. 11-2 all time when playing NCAA tournaments in the state of Florida.
And they're busing down there. Somebody asked me if they wanted to fly. No, they're busing.
No bus. It's
Yeah.
2 hours, man. It's no big deal.
Real quick, Norris on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. How is Houck third team? Shouldn't he be first team? Not first team all. We're talking about in the country.
Right. I mean, I can't make any qualms about that. I mean,
No, I know.
look at those guys.
looked
Look
at
at
it.
those guys on the first team.
The first team
God.
they're all top 5 picks.
Right.
All right, and then before we get you out of here, Monty's question regarding the front court.
Mhm.
Are any of them back next year?
We'll see what those are conversations for exit interviews and NIL people.
Yeah. And so
I mean,
go
Tommy
back.
is still listed as a lottery pick and or at least projected as one. So I couldn't see that, but
Let me ask you that real quick because I can't remember how the NBA stuff works. Okay, let's just say season's over. When's the Final Four? At the end of first week of April?
Beginning in April, yeah.
Okay, you have your exit meetings or whatever. Let's just use Condon, for example. Does he still go through that whole process like he went through last year? And then he could still say, you know what? I think I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Walter did that.
Right.
Will Richard did that. Elijah did that after their junior seasons or whatever. So he'll do the same thing. I mean, other guys like the Darius Acuffs of the world, I don't even know if they have to go through that stuff. But they just say I'm turning pro and I'm and start your workouts and everything. But I think those 3 guys would do that stuff. You know, just and the eval process, they tell how, you know, we like you, or this is what you need to work on, that kind of stuff. And they'll have specific interviews with teams.
Yeah. Dan's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Will Micah get his extra year?
That's, up to NCAA. I don't have any insight into that. And I've asked about it in the last couple of weeks, and it's not something that they're dealing with right now, nor do they need to be.
Yeah. And so talking about next year, which I don't know why we're talking about next year, but we are, pretty much if you look at the starting 5, I would say Boogie comes back.
Okay.
Would you agree with that or no?
I mean, yeah, I would think. I mean, I think he'd come back. Yeah, he also went into transfer portal last year as a starting point.
Well, that's true too. He could go somewhere else and play.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's good. What he's going to. Yeah, that's the landscape of 2026. But I think this is a conversation for another couple of weeks. But I mean, just have some faith in this staff.
I agree.
And what they've been able to do to gather together a roster. He learned his lessons from his first roster, and they have a plan.
Absolutely.
Don't you worry about it, guys. Don't you worry about it.
I saved Don's question for last on Facebook.
Okay. Is it about Olivier? Is Olivier ready?
Is Ollie our big man at all going forward? No.
Ollie is much better than when he got on campus. I'm not sure he's ready to be a big man though.
No.
In the Southeastern Conference.
No, not at all. Chris, good stuff as always. You got any stuff people can go to the website and read?
I'm just be doing a kind of general kind of setup story going into this tournament about, we talked about the reset. Let's see how this team resets and let's see how they come out. I don't like the Friday night game. It's not ideal, but they had to do that because to get a play-in team that's playing Wednesday night, they have to be fair to that play-in team.
Right.
They can't just ideally Florida would be playing an early game on Friday, but it wasn't going to happen facing a play-in opponent.
What time do you think, just off the top of your head, because I know they changed, they used to play all those Sunday games like in the afternoon, but now they kind of stagger them and we have some at night.
The first weekend they do play some games that start at like 8:00, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that will be the case, but I mean it could be. So
okay. All right. Have a good trip down there. We'll talk to you soon, my man.
All right, Shane. Take care, man.
That's Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com. Join us on the Titan Number Hotline courtesy of Comfort Tent. When Urban Meyer wanted to introduce his high-quality tequila to the Gator Nation, he made sure to get it to the HBC and his team at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Dorn's Liquors. Go beyond with smooth Los Landeros tequila. Appreciate everybody chiming in. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care.